Own your story. Your past is power, not a limitation. Too often, women are taught to hide the parts of their lives that feel messy, painful, or imperfect, as if those moments somehow make them less worthy of success, love, or respect. But the truth is, everything you have been through, every setback, every heartbreak, every failure has shaped you into the person you are today, and there is strength in that. Your past is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to be understood, embraced, and transformed into fuel. There were days that tested your patience, nights that broke your spirit, and moments when you felt like giving up, but you did not. You are still here, still standing, still pushing forward, and that alone is proof of your resilience. The struggles you faced were not designed to destroy you. They were meant to build you, to teach you lessons that no textbook or lecture ever could. Every tear carried a message, every failure carried a direction, and every obstacle carried an opportunity to grow stronger. When you begin to see your past through this lens, something powerful happens. You stop running from it and you start learning from it. You realize that your story is not a collection of mistakes. It is a journey of survival, courage, and growth. The moments you once wished you could erase become the very moments that give you depth, wisdom, and authenticity. They become the reason someone else can look at you and feel hope because they see proof that it is possible to rise. Owning your story means refusing to let others define you by your lowest moments. It means standing firm in your truth, even when it feels uncomfortable, and saying, this is who I am, and this is where I have been, and I am not ashamed, because shame has no place in a life that is meant to be lived boldly. When you release that shame, you make room for confidence. And when confidence grows, your entire life begins to shift. There is also a quiet power in speaking your truth. When you stop pretending to be perfect and start being real, you create connection. People do not relate to perfection. They relate to honesty, to vulnerability, to the courage it takes to say, I struggled, I fell, but I got back up. Your story becomes a bridge, not just for your own healing, but for others who are walking a similar path and need to know they are not alone. You must also understand that your past does not have the authority to limit your future. It may have shaped you, but it does not control you. You have the power to decide what it means, and more importantly, what you will do with it. You can choose to carry it as a burden, or you can choose to carry it as strength. That choice belongs to you, and it is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me, begin to ask, what is this preparing me for? Instead of seeing pain, begin to see purpose. Instead of feeling broken, begin to recognize that you have been rebuilt with greater strength and deeper understanding. Your story is not over. It is still being written, and every day you have the chance to turn your experiences into something meaningful. Own your story completely, without apology, without hesitation, and without fear, because the moment you do, you stop being held back by your past and start being propelled by it. Silence self-doubt and step into your voice. There is a quiet battle that happens within, one that no one else can see, yet it has the power to shape your entire life. It is the voice that questions your worth, that whispers you are not ready, not capable, not enough. It shows up before you take a risk, before you speak your truth, before you step into an opportunity that could change everything. And if you listen to it for too long, it begins to sound like truth, even though it is nothing more than fear wearing a familiar disguise. Self-doubt is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that you are standing at the edge of growth. It appears when you are about to do something meaningful, something bigger than your comfort zone. But here is what you must understand. You do not have to eliminate self-doubt completely to move forward. You simply have to stop giving it control. You have to learn how to hear it, acknowledge it, and still choose to act in spite of it. There will be moments when your voice shakes, when your confidence feels fragile, when you question whether anyone will listen or care. Speak anyway. Your voice does not need to be perfect to be powerful. It needs to be honest. The moment you begin to express yourself authentically, you reclaim a part of yourself that self-doubt tried to take away. You begin to realize that your voice matters, not because it is flawless, but because it is yours. So many women spend years shrinking themselves to fit into expectations, staying silent to avoid judgment, and holding back their ideas because they fear rejection. But silence does not protect you. It limits you. It keeps your gifts hidden, your ideas unheard, and your potential unrealized. When you choose to stay quiet, you are not avoiding failure, you are avoiding growth. And growth is where your true power lies. Stepping into your voice means accepting that not everyone will agree with you and is okay. Your purpose is not to please everyone, is to stand firmly in your truth. When you speak with conviction, you will attract those who resonate with you and inspire those who need to hear your message. And even if your voice trembles at first, it will grow stronger each time you use it. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you build through action. It also requires you to challenge the stories you have been telling yourself. The belief that you are not smart enough, not experienced enough, not talented enough, those are learned thoughts, not facts. They were shaped by past experiences, by criticism, by comparison, but they do not define your reality unless you allow them to. You have the power to rewrite those narratives, to replace doubt with belief and fear with determination. There is strength in showing up as you are without hiding behind perfection. The world does not need another filtered version of confidence. It needs real voices, voices that speak with courage, vulnerability, and truth. When you step into your voice, you not only empower yourself, you give others permission to do the same. You become a reminder that it is possible to rise above fear and be heard. Every time you choose to speak, to share, to express, you are breaking the cycle of doubt that once held you back. You are proving to yourself that your thoughts, your ideas, and your presence have value. And with each step forward, self-doubt begins to lose its power because you are no longer feeding it with hesitation. Silence self-doubt not by waiting for it to disappear, but by refusing to let it decide your actions. Step into your voice with courage, with honesty, and with belief in who you are becoming, because your voice is not just important, it is necessary. Discipline and consistency beat motivation. Motivation is often celebrated as the driving force behind success, but the truth is, it is unreliable. It comes and goes, rising when you feel inspired and disappearing when things become difficult. If you depend only on motivation, you will find yourself starting strong and stopping short, full of intention, but lacking results. Discipline, on the other hand, does not rely on how you feel. It relies on what you decide. It is the commitment to show up again and again, regardless of your mood, your energy, or your circumstances. There will be days when you feel excited, focused, and ready to take on the world. But there will also be days when you feel tired, distracted, and unmotivated. Those are the days that truly matter. Anyone can work when they feel inspired, but it takes discipline to keep going when the excitement fades. It is in those quiet, difficult moments that real progress is made. It is when you choose action over excuses, effort over comfort, and purpose over temporary feelings. Consistency is what transforms small actions into meaningful results. It is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about doing something regularly. Even the smallest steps, when repeated daily, create momentum. Over time, that momentum becomes growth, and that growth becomes success. Many people underestimate the power of consistency because they are looking for quick results. But lasting change is built slowly through repeated effort and unwavering commitment. Discipline also builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you strengthen your self-belief. You begin to see yourself as someone who keeps promises as someone who can be relied upon, that inner trust becomes a foundation for confidence. And with confidence, you are able to take on bigger challenges, set higher goals, and push beyond your limits. Without discipline, that trust weakens and self-doubt begins to take its place. There is also freedom in discipline, even though it may not feel that way at first. At the beginning, it can seem restrictive, like you are not the mistake, but the response. Do you stop completely, or do you get back on track? Consistency does not mean never failing. It means never quitting. It means returning to your path again and again, and no matter how many times you stray. Motivation can start the journey, but it cannot sustain it. It is discipline that carries you through the difficult phases, the slow progress, and the unseen effort. It is consistency that ensures you keep moving forward, even when the results are not immediately visible. Together, they create a powerful force that does not depend on temporary emotions, but on long-term commitment. When you begin to prioritize discipline over motivation, your mindset shifts. You stop asking, do I feel like doing this? And start asking, is this aligned with my goals? That shift changes everything. It moves you from a place of hesitation to a place of action, from inconsistency to reliability, from potential to progress. In the end, success is not built on bursts of motivation. It is built on steady, consistent effort over time. Discipline keeps you grounded. Consistency keeps you moving. And together they turn your vision into reality. Surround yourself with growth, not comfort. It is natural to seek environments and relationships that feel easy, familiar, and safe, but comfort, while soothing in the moment, can quietly hold you back from becoming who you are meant to be. Growth does not happen in spaces where everything stays the same. It happens where you are challenged, stretched, and sometimes even uncomfortable. If you remain surrounded only by what feels easy, you may never discover how much you are truly capable of. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and the environments you place yourself in all shape your mindset and your direction. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, doubt, or complacency, it becomes harder to stay motivated, focused, and inspired. On the other hand, when you are around individuals who are driven, who are learning, who are pushing themselves to improve, that energy begins to influence you. You start to think bigger, act bolder, and expect more from yourself. Choosing growth over comfort also means being willing to outgrow certain spaces and relationships. This is not about abandoning people or forgetting where you came from. It is about recognizing when something no longer aligns with the person you are becoming. Growth sometimes requires distance from habits, mindsets, or influences that keep you stuck. It can feel difficult, even painful, because comfort is familiar, but staying in the wrong environment can limit your potential far more than stepping into the unknown. There is also a difference between support and stagnation. True support does not always mean agreement or ease. It means being encouraged to become better. The right people will challenge you, hold you accountable, and push you to see beyond your current limits. They will celebrate your progress, but that they will also remind you of your potential when you start to settle. These are the kinds of connections that help you grow, not by keeping things easy, but by helping you rise. Growth-oriented environments are not always comfortable, and that is what makes them powerful. They expose you to new ideas, different perspectives, and opportunities that you may not have considered before. They force you to adapt, to learn, and to expand your thinking. In these spaces, you may feel unsure at times. You may question yourself, but that discomfort is a sign that you are evolving. It means you are stepping beyond what you already know and into what you are capable of becoming. It is also important to examine your daily habits and routines. Comfort can show up in the way you spend your time, in the content you consume, and in the choices choices you make. Are you choosing what is easy, or are you choosing what help you grow? Growth often requires effort, intention, and sometimes sacrifice, but it always leads to progress. When you begin to align your actions with your desire to grow, your life starts to shift in meaningful ways. You must also become someone who contributes to growth, not just seeks it. The energy you bring into a space matters. When you are committed to learning, improving, and supporting others, you help create an environment where growth can thrive. It becomes a shared experience where everyone is moving forward, encouraging one another, and building something greater together. Comfort will always be tempting because it asks nothing from you. Growth, however, asks everything: your effort, your courage, your willingness to change. But in return, it gives you something far more valuable. It gives you progress, strength, and the ability to become more than you were before. Surround yourself with what challenges you to rise, what inspires you to think differently, and what pushes you to move beyond your limits. Because the life you want will not be found in comfort, it will be found in growth. Rise not just for yourself, but for every woman watching you. Whether you realize it or not, your journey is never yours alone. There are always eyes observing, hearts relating, and minds being shaped by the way you choose to live your life. You may not see them, you may not hear them, but your actions, your courage, and your decisions create a ripple effect that reaches far beyond your immediate world. Every step you take forward becomes a silent message to someone else that progress is possible. There is a young girl somewhere who is trying to understand her worth, watching how women around her carry themselves, how they speak, how they rise after falling. There is a woman who feels stuck, who believes it might be too late for her, who is searching for a reason to try again. And then there are those who have been told to stay quiet, to stay small, to stay within limits that were never meant to define them. When you choose to rise, you challenge all of those limitations, not just for yourself, but for them as well. Your courage gives permission. When you speak up, you show others that their voice matters too. When you chase your goals, you remind others that their dreams are valid. When you refuse to give up, you become proof that resilience is real. This is the kind of influence that cannot always be measured, but it is deeply felt. It moves through people quietly, inspiring change, building confidence, and encouraging action in ways you may never fully witness. Rising for others does not mean losing yourself. It means expanding your purpose. It means understanding that your growth carries meaning beyond personal success. It becomes about impact, about lifting others as you climb, about leaving behind a path that others can follow with more clarity and confidence. It transforms your struggles into lessons that someone else can learn from, and your victories into hope that someone else can hold onto. There will be moments when the weight of responsibility feels heavy, when you feel tired, when you question whether your effort is making a difference. In those moments, remember that even the smallest act of strength can inspire someone who is on the edge of giving up. Sometimes just seeing someone continue despite challenges is enough to ignite a spark in another person. Your consistency, your determination, and your willingness to keep going can become a source of strength for someone who needs it. It is also important to recognize that rising does not mean being perfect. You do not have to have everything figured out to make an impact. In fact, it is your imperfections, your honesty, and your vulnerability that make your journey relatable. People do not connect with perfection, they connect with truth. When you share your real experiences, your struggles, as well as your successes, you create a space where others feel seen and understood. Choosing to rise for others also means challenging systems, expectations, and beliefs that limit potential. It means refusing to accept narratives that say women must compete instead of support, that they must conform instead of lead, that they must must stay within boundaries instead of breaking them. By rising, you become part of a larger movement that shifts perspectives, and opens doors, and creates opportunities for those who come after you. Your life becomes more than just a personal story. It becomes a source of inspiration, a symbol of possibility, and a reminder that strength can take many forms. Every time you choose growth over fear, every time you stand firm in your truth, and every time you take a step forward, you are contributing to something greater than yourself. Rise with intention, rise with courage, and rise with the understanding that you are not alone in your journey. There are countless women, seen and unseen, drawing strength from your example, and one day someone will look at your story and find the courage to begin their own because you chose to rise. This is your moment to decide who you are going to be from this day forward. You, the true, have heard the truth, you have felt the call, and now the only thing left is action. Your story is not something to hide, it is your foundation. Your voice is not something to doubt, it is your power. Your discipline and consistency are the tools that will carry you when motivation fades. The people and environments you choose will either lift you or limit you, and the life you build will never rise higher than what you allow around you. You are stronger than your fears, more capable than your doubts, and more powerful than you have been led to believe. Everything you need is already within you, waiting for you to claim it, to trust it, and to act on it. The path will not always be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty, but none of those are reasons to stop. They are reasons to grow, to adapt, and to rise even higher. And remember, this journey is bigger than you. Every step you take forward creates a ripple that reaches other women who are watching, learning, and searching for their own strength. When you rise, you do not just change your life, you become a source of light for others who are still finding their way. Your courage becomes their permission, your resilience becomes their hope, and your success becomes proof that it can be done. So stand tall in who you are, speak boldly with your voice, stay committed to your path, and choose growth every single day. Do not wait for the perfect moment, do not wait for approval, and do not wait for fear to disappear. Move forward with it, rise above it, and let it shape you into the woman you were always meant to become. This is your wake-up call, not just to dream, but to do. Not just to exist, but to lead. Not just to hope, but to build. Step into your power, embrace your journey, and rise, because the world is waiting for the woman you decide to become.